Today marks 1 year since Russia invaded Ukraine, and since the war started, the U.S. has committed billions of dollars in security, humanitarian, and economic assistance. Channel 11's Kirsten Garris live in Washington. And Kirsten, you've been crunching those numbers. What have you learned?
David, we dug through federal records to figure out just how much help the U.S. committed to Ukraine. We found that lawmakers approved more than $113 billion in aid over the last year alone. A State Department spokesperson tells me this response is boosting Ukraine's security while the country is still at war.
We will make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to be successful on the battlefield.
Since the start of the war, Congress has approved more than $113 billion in aid for the country.
We need to continue to understand that Vladimir Putin is not going to stop unless we as allied nations help the Ukraine in stopping him.
Bishop Garrison is a former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense. He believes this is an investment that supports our own national security.
If we don't help allies like Ukraine here at the outset, we are going to risk placing our own strategic interests in danger.
But critics say that's money that could be better used here at home. So how is that money being used? $68 billion in aid is going to security assistance. $38 billion in aid is going to economic and humanitarian assistance. Another $7 billion is going to other types of aid.
$113 billion is a lot of money, but in the context of the whole federal budget, which is well over $3 trillion, it's not as big.
Steve Ellis runs Taxpayers for Common Sense, a budget watchdog group. He says tracking this money is key. That's why he's glad to see Congress also set aside money for oversight.
Making sure that the money is being spent wisely and appropriately, because as soon as it's not, then all of a sudden it becomes a real question as to, is this a wise use of federal resources?
Today, President Biden also met virtually with G7 leaders and the president of Ukraine. Officials say they're reaffirming their support for the country for as long as it takes. We're live in Washington. Kirsten Garris, Channel 11 News.